This is one of the rarest planetary configurations of our entire lifetime, and we are now here. Between July 15th and July 24th, we are going to be in this energetic vortex that is described as the most beautiful configuration of the 21st century. And why I keep making so many videos about it, why I think it's so remarkable, is the perfection of it. All the planets involved, Jupiter, Pluto, Uranus, and Neptune, are all at the exact same degree, 4 degrees of their sign. We never see this. All the outer planets at the same degree, creating this basket configuration that will then be a pyramid configuration on July 19th with the moon. It's this divine cosmic perfection showing us in the sky, and everything is a mirror. And I believe astrology is a mirror for us, as above, so below. When there's this cosmic divine perfection up there, it can usher that here. And that's why Andrew Barbault said this transit would usher in the beginning of the golden age. And every single time I tap into this astrology, I see the golden ratio symbol. And that represents divine cosmic perfection. It is this, I looked it up, the underlying blueprint of creation. It is everything coming into divine proportion and cosmic order and universal harmony. And that is exactly what the Malaka prophecies was saying, that I made another video on, that this time was going to usher in this Satya Yuga, the golden age, where we all come back into our cosmic perfection as humans. This new era of human that will be immune to all disease, that will have instant manifestation abilities, that will have all their gifts online because they are now aligned and in harmony with the universe, aligned with the cosmos. And that's what this configuration is showing us in the skies right now. The golden ratio also forms the spirals in our DNA, and I just can't help but think that everyone's talking about, all the channels and psychics are talking about our DNA changing. I'm seeing our DNA awakening, and awakening this dormant DNA and awakening to our gifts that we've held for all our lifetimes. Our soul holds all the memory, our DNA holds all the memory. This configuration could awaken our DNA. Then, not far away, we have the 888 Lionsgate portal, which also activates our DNA, which is what I've experienced anyway on my journey. Every single year I get some type of activation of my gifts then. We have this crazy configuration that is showing this perfection in the sky. I believe it's going to activate us in some way on a genetic DNA cellular level. And the forms of our DNA is with the golden ratio. Maybe our DNA will be shifting and changing, because some people are saying that we're going to now have 12 strands of DNA instead of 2. And I really see it as more this return to our crystalline light bodies. But other people aren't saying it like that. The Malaka prophecies weren't saying that, but they were saying that we have returned to our divine perfection, which is that. That is what we are. We are energy, light bodies. We are not this dense form anymore. And this configuration might be the beginning of the transition into the 5D new earth, when we're shifting out of 3D, out of density, out of trauma, and into our cosmic divine perfection. But that's just what I've been channeling about it. But let's bring it back down to earth. The French astrologer André Barbault, this is what he said in his book. This is going to be the most benefic configuration of the century, and its interplanetary partnership will work for the best in a splendid relaunch of civilization. It contains a harmonious relationship between primordial opposites, the coming together of the external and internal, rational and spiritual, mind and soul, human beings surpassing themselves while experiencing life on a higher level. The New World civilization is in full flight now. This entry into the second quarter of the century bears the stamp of the achievement of a new age of humanity. The sensual and harmonic position of the Saturn-Neptune conjunction, which happened on February 20 and will feel this for a long time, is especially expressive of a promotion of the lower strata of the world population, a significant rise in the standard of living of the poor, a victory over misery won in unprecedented solidarity. And what he means by that is the Saturn-Neptune conjunction was happening in Aries. They have both moved into the sign of Aries, which is all about sovereignty. In this world of tech and AI and everyone thinking that that's going to take over our lives, and it's going to make sure that humanity keeps its sovereignty in the face of AI. And knowing that our mind, our body, our spirit has its own technology that far surpasses what AI can ever do. And that is the remembrance of our power, which is what Aries helps bring. But there's a lot of different sextiles and trines. These planets are talking to each other, and it's kind of hard for me to explain all in one go, but I'm going to try. But with all this AI, the global changes are going to be predominantly technological, but that is going to awaken our sovereignty in a way that we might have never seen before. Humanity is going to, there could be some type of grassroots revolution, because we are going to see this rise in AI and technology. It's going to happen, but it's going to actually turn us inward more than you might expect. You might think everyone's going to turn reliant on AI, but it's actually going to get us more in touch with our own inner knowing. And we're going to have this sovereign connection to our own spirituality and our own truth, despite what we see, because Neptune's in the mix. If this is all about like what's real, what's not, what's reality, what's illusion, but we have sovereignty over what we choose to believe and what our truth is, and we have our discernment to know what we see is something that we won't fall for, because that is a possibility under this energy. That, by the way, the minor triangle between Uranus, Pluto and Neptune is going to last for like 2 years. So this isn't just this week and then it's done. We are going to, over this span of time, we're going to have this deeper connection to ourselves, our spirituality, our place in the world, separate from AI, or how we can use it as a tool. So it's kind of ironic or a paradox that the thing that is meant to disconnect us from reality and from each other is actually going to create a movement that will bring us together and bring us back into connection. And we will also, with Neptune and Saturn in Aries, especially Neptune, we are going to connect with our individual intuition and psychic abilities and our gifts and our innate ability to connect to ourselves and to connect to other realms and beyond what we can see here in the now and beyond what technology can offer us, is really the powerful, empowering message that we need to remember here with this transit. There is going to be a huge, almost AI gold rush that happens under this configuration, and it's going to ripple on for years. But it's also going to create the opposite of that, where we are going to be more empowered as human beings and maybe realize that we're not human and we're a lot more powerful than that. And that is when we shift into the 5D. And because these are outer planets that are involved in this configuration, this is a cycle that has been spanning out over decades or even centuries, and it's all been building up to this moment. This is some type of pivotal catalyst initiation point that we're at right now. I'm not saying something physical is going to happen, because the universe is energetic, so maybe it's an energetic shift. I do question why they've made the World Cup final on the day that this goes exact. I'm not sure if they're planning something, but also we need to use our discernment that it might be nothing and it might be an illusion, because they're going to be working with Neptune and AI, and it could be some type of thing to control us and to put us in fear, because that's what they normally do. But when we can look back, when Pluto just moved into Aquarius and started trining Uranus, that's when everyone started talking about flying to the moon, flying to Mars. It was all about space travel and NASA flights and the technology that was going to get them there. So the theme is going to be building on that. Space travel, aliens, UFOs, disclosure. The Disclosure Day movie just came out. It's all this similar theme that's going to be building up to something or nothing. Because Uranus and Neptune are involved, I can almost guarantee it's going to be about aliens or UFOs in some way. They're making a sextile now, but they made a conjunction in 1993, and that was when Stephen Greer made that disclosure project thing where he brought all these people from the government and the military who knew about what was going on with UFOs and aliens, and it was kind of this institutional disclosure, and that could be coming back around again, but we also need to be careful that it could be a distraction, and it could be actually taking our attention away from the real secrets that they're trying to hide, the military projects, the advanced tech. The military actually wants to protect that. So I'm not sure how much truth is really going to come out. And in that disclosure movie, I don't know how much they're actually going to show, because we don't really want to buy into the official narrative right now, even with Trump showing videos of UFOs and things like that. I'm not sure how much of it being put out there is real, and we need to use our discernment and be just suspicious of why it's being put out here and why it's being put out now. But we can definitely see the tighter that this configuration gets, I really see there's going to be more news, more revelations, and it really feels like they're building up to something, but it could be for their own agenda. So that's what I just need to make people aware of. They're giving us all these hints. There's this Disclosure Day movie on the news. They were talking about the four most seen aliens: the reptilians, the greys, the mantis beings, the Nordics. Why are they showing us this now? I'm not sure. We also have Neptune making a sextile to Pluto in this configuration, and the last time they made a sextile was in the late 1940s, and that was a huge emergence of UFOs in human consciousness. So I feel like that's definitely going to happen again. But we have Pluto in Aquarius this time, and we have Uranus in Gemini, and they are both technological signs. And these astrology teachers I have that are very 3D, they don't talk about 5D ascension or anything like that, but they do predict a split in society, which is really funny because we talk about in the New Earth kind of realm, we're talking about the shift from 3D to 5D. These 3D people are talking about some type of split in society where people go the technology way and other people go the natural way. And it really is very closely describing what channelers and psychics are talking about, this split that happens between the 3D and the 5D. Now, I'm not sure how much I resonate with that because I don't believe in a split or separation, but just wanted to share that point as well. And then we have Jupiter opposing Pluto, which is all about big money. All millionaires, billionaires, the elite people always have some Jupiter-Pluto connection in their charts. But this specific opposition is a culmination of a conjunction that happened on April 4th, 2020. That was the beginning of lockdown. That was a huge redistribution of wealth and of power. And this is the culmination point now. So something is going to happen. Back then, it was a power grab, and every time Jupiter and Pluto meet, it's always some extreme change in our wealth, our prosperity, the power within that area of life that it's targeting in your specific chart for an individual. But collectively, we saw it back then in lockdown, huge redistribution of power and money, where we had power and control over our individual liberties, our day-to-day lives, where we weren't allowed to do anything. And this point is a culmination of that conjunction. So I don't know what that's going to mean, but Pluto is in Aquarius, which is power to the people. This is the awakening of the collective, of the community. That's why I'm saying it could be some type of grassroots revolution that despite all the technology around us, it leads us to anchor back to the earth and deeper into ourselves. But because we're saying this is going to be the beginning of the golden age, it doesn't mean it's going to be beautiful straight away. Because for us to get there, we need to have some type of collapse and dismantlement of the old world, of the government. And people are talking about this peaceful collective awakening, and I'm not sure if that's what's going to happen. It might be more shocking because Uranus is involved. It's always disruptive when it comes to that. And Andre Barbault talked about this massive pivot towards collective healing, which is beautiful, but the old world order has to break down and civilizations have to completely reorganize themselves. Now that doesn't sound harmonious, the process of that, but what it's going to lead to is this birth of a new era, this golden age. And decades before his death, Andre Barbault was studying and mapping all the outer planet cycles for the entire 21st century, and he explicitly identified July 2026 would trigger this relaunch of civilization. That 4 major outer planets converging perfectly at 4 degrees of their own signs, this with harmonious angles as well, trines and sextiles. No matter what people are saying, there's a lot of different theories out there, but we cannot ignore how rare this synchronization is and that something pretty incredible has to come out of it. Andre Barbault predicted the pandemic in 2020. He predicted the fall of the Soviet Union back in the 80s, the 2008 financial crisis. He predicted the World War, and his last prediction was July 19th, 2026. And he said that this synchronization acts as a massive container of balanced cosmic energy, capable of absorbing global tension and converting it into progress. This is why he said it was a relaunch of civilization. He predicted between 2020 and 2025 would be a heavy crisis-ridden restrictive low point for humanity, which we then had the pandemic, and this subsequent global inflation that happened as well. And he forecasted July 2026 was where that heavy global compression finally breaks, ushering in a rapid economic and social restart. And this is why he was saying it's going to usher in this golden age. He forecasted a macro level realignment of power dynamics, which is so spot on, with Jupiter in Leo and Pluto in Aquarius making an opposition. Jupiter is in the sign of Leo, which is all about sovereignty, and Pluto's in Aquarius, which is all about the collective and collective networks. So he's talking about this major restructuring of political landscapes, this shift in power, because Pluto in Aquarius is power to the people, and it's power back to the masses, and it's this restabilizing of what we've been living in, this hierarchy of rich and poor, which is exactly what the Hindu Bhavishya Malika prophecy said, that rich and poor will no longer exist after between 2025 and 2030. This transition out of that will happen, and this is exactly what the astrology is also saying. So this is the setup to the golden age, but this transition in itself from the old world to the new world is highly volatile, and this new world arriving, like he predicted, there's a collapse of old institutional structures that need to happen, and that can feel chaotic in real time. So it's not just all love and light, golden age stuff now. This old world needs to collapse and fall apart, and this is kind of the beginning of that. So it's not all good from here. It might be hard, because transitions always are, but what he's talking about is what the other side of it, this golden age. But as we are going through this collapse, this falling apart, breaking down of the old world, as Mother Earth starts to purge, and she already is, but purging more and more density, and we're all shedding and we're all transmuting darkness into light, please know that's why you are here. And your light is more powerful than the density, and this is the beginning of the shift, and it's been building up to this moment. This is your soul mission here, to transmute this stuff. We are alchemists, and our souls have come here for this shift in time right now, and the astrology is aligning and being like, okay guys, now is the time, do it. And Mother Earth is going to start erupting and purging, and we all need to kind of do it together as a collective. Humans and animals and Mother Earth, nature, all of us, we're all just going to go, okay, yep, now is the time for us to start like transmuting like we've never transmuted before, and changing the density, changing the 3D into 5D, changing the trauma and the pain into light and power. That is why you're here.